Welcome to Chuck Force Machine. Today I'm going to tell you about Cerakote, a ceramic-based firearms refinishing product. Some of you out there are new to this, maybe have some firearms, maybe the bluing's wearing off from holster rash, maybe it's been dropped, scuffed, just wearing off the finish that you want to finish, or you want an old firearm refinished, one that may be rusting. Anyway, Cerakote firearms product is a ceramic-based finish that is very durable. I would say it's off the charts durable. Most other gun coatings companies out there are trying to match what Cerakote's doing, and by far they're the absolute best. More gun manufacturers are now coating their guns before they sell them wholesale. Anyway, Cerakote, guncoatings.com is where you can find it. I'm going to teach you a little bit about the process today. I'm going to show you a Kimber Custom II that I'm refinishing. You'll see the before pictures, which I can pull right here, and then also some of the pictures after we're all finished. But I'm going to show you the process today. I'm going to break it down and explain it, because if you don't follow this process for Cerakote, it won't stick. But I'm telling you, once you follow the process, it's the best firearm finish out there. Alright, here's your Kimber Custom II 1911. And today I'm going to show you basically, after we tore it apart, your first step prior to sandblasting is to take every piece that you're going to paint and soak it in, after you clean it, soak it in acetone for 20 minutes at least. And then you bake the parts at I bake them at 300 for about 20 minutes after you soak them in acetone. And what that does is the acetone gets in all the crooks and crannies of the gun. It helps break down the grease, and then when you soak it, or after you soak it and you bake it, then what you have is the heat evaporating the acetone, and along with most of the oils that are in the gun. So just to show you, this Kimber's probably had about 5,000–6,000 rounds through it. It's well used. The barrel's been taken care of. As far as the cleaning of it, this customer has just used it as an everyday gun, carried it for years, kept it inside, cold weather, outside. Most of this finish that's on this bluing right here from Kimber is kind of wearing off. And I'll show you here in a couple. Hopefully you can see that. So what you can see here is you can see the edges, and you can see where this slide has been wore. We've got a little bit of bluing coming off there. As far as just the edges, it's been through its paces. It's been carried, it's been dropped. In fact, I'll be trimming up a little bit more of this little nick right here. Due to probably being dropped. Doesn't really affect the sights or anything, but if you want to have a nice finish on it, you kind of have to clean it up first. As far as the frame, now the frame here, I've noticed once I soaked it and baked it, then you'll start seeing imperfections, and right here you can see the rust. This rust is it's not too bad. It's surface rust. It'll come off with the sandblasting. But at the same time, you don't really want rust on your gun, especially on the barrel, in the barrel. And I just suggest everyone just clean their weapons once you're done shooting it. But this here is not from a lack of cleaning. What this is basically moisture being trapped under the grips. That's your frame. There's a little, I think, a rough little nick right here. I'll probably end up blending that out a little bit. And just looking at the frame itself, it's in pretty decent shape. Of course, it's a Kimber. Very good tolerances on this. You can see that the rails are slightly wore, but that's just usually the finishing coming off. And I will be painting these rails graphite black along with this frame when we continue with the Cerakote process. And what that actually does is the Cerakote on the rails will actually tighten up the slide just a little bit. I've had frames where I painted this top piece, which actually rides in the slide. If you can see it, that piece in the frame rides right in here, right on that edge. And what that does is that it helps that slide with a guide on the top. But I've actually painted this and accidentally painted this on my 45, and it pretty much was sticky. So actually I had to take some emery cloth and take some off of this, which doesn't hurt anything. You just want to make sure you keep oil on it if you have bare metal. So that's your frame, that's your slide. You've got the hammer, the barrel nut, the barrel. As you can see, the barrel here, it's got a little bit of rust and pitting on it. Right there, I don't know if you can see that, right there at my thumbnail. But that there, the sandblasting will take that off. But if we don't take care of this over the years and just at least get the rust off, it'll continue to keep rusting, and you don't want your barrel to rust. Any pitting of rust in a barrel weakens it. So anyway, the guide ramp right here on the end of the barrel, I'll end up taking a little bit of probably 600 grit and some polish and polishing that up, and also inside the frame. One thing you don't want to paint inside the frame is you really don't want to paint the guide ramp right here. If I can get a good, this guide ramp right there. Now you don't want to paint that simply because that's where your bullet feeds right up into the barrel. And so what I'm going to be doing is masking this off when I paint this frame, and then I'll be polishing this guide ramp for my customer also. Here's the beaver tail, grip safety. The trigger here, one nice thing about this is aluminum, very light trigger, although it's got a good finish on it. We're going to make sure that we actually paint the trigger too. It's going to give this a gun really nice look. And all the parts in here are basically different pieces that I will be painting either the ends on. You've got your slide safety, and all these little pins and things, which basically will accent the gun. A lot of these things you want to paint, and you want to make sure that they have a good coating on them so they don't corrode later on down the road. So that's it for the Custom II Kimber. Stay tuned. Next we're going to go into the sandblasting. Once I get the sandblasting done, I'll show you what all these parts kind of look like sandblasted, and then from there I'll show you the next step. Alright, before I get to the sandblasting though, I want to show you what I masked on the slide. I usually don't paint any of this in here in the slide. I use a plug kit from Cerakote. So I plug the holes where I don't want any overspray, and as long as you can see this, I plugged the barrel. I taped off where the barrel locks into the slide. I'll probably end up polishing that later. So you basically want to mask all the pieces that you don't want any sandblasting media to remove. All these little parts right in here, as you can see, those are actually going to go in my shake and blast, and that way you don't lose them. Screw heads, little pins, whatever. As far as this piece on the Kimber Custom II, this is your back strap of your frame, which goes right here. And on this gun, this piece is plastic. I didn't know that about Kimber's. My Taurus actually is steel. But basically what you want to do with plastic is wipe it down with acetone prior to painting, and wipe it thoroughly. And when you bake plastic, you can't bake it at the 250 degrees that they recommend. You have to bake it at least at 120. Plastics maybe even lower than that, and that way you can bake your Cerakote. On the frame, as you can see, I used the plug kit to just kind of plug into the holes of the grip screw inserts, and that way I don't bead blast inside the threads. I masked off the feed ramp here from the frame, and later I said I was going to polish that up. So whatever you don't want media to remove as far as blasting, you need to mask it off. If this had like tritium sights, I'd mask this off. Simply because you don't want your sights blasted and painted, obviously. This one just has block, so later on I'll show you what I'm going to do with that. As far as that goes, barrel nut parts are ready to go, and when I come back you'll see what the sandblasted parts look like. Welcome back. Now we have the frame, the parts sandblasted, and you can see that they are absolutely a different color, obviously gunmetal gray. Basically this takes all the bluing off. As you can see, I masked the areas I didn't want sand to get into, And once I demask this and I'll pull the plugs out, I'll go ahead and blow it all the way clean. It's very important at this stage that you never touch this metal again with bare hands. The oils on your hands will get basically impregnated into the metal and your paint won't stick. So from there, I've got the pieces sandblasted. Got the little pieces here that I took out, the trigger, barrel nut, the beaver tail. I've got all these little pieces in here that, as you can see, I basically put those in my shake and blast, and it pretty much does a great job. So everything that I did in this, I masked off, now has a sandblasted finish to it, so the paint will adhere. So other than that, that's basically it. My next step is to blow them dry, mask off what I don't want to paint, and prep them for painting. Once I get it set up, I'll show you my little paint booth. I'll have them hanging in there, and after we paint, then we bake it. So stay tuned, be right back. Hey, I'm back now. I just want to show you the next step in my Cerakote process. After I've sandblasted the parts, which you've seen, I'm now hanging them and getting them ready for shooting. As you can see, I mask off places that I do not want any of the paint to be. Wire them all up so I can hang them in my oven. I will be taking this masking tape off before putting it in the oven. It's a learning curve. You don't want to bake your masking tape on. I believe Cerakote has very light tack masking tape that you can get, but I haven't purchased that yet. Hopefully in my next video you'll see that. For now, so let's go ahead and I'll get to shooting and I'll show you the final product. Thanks. Hey, Chuck here. Just wanted to show you what we have now that we've painted the slide and the little part satin aluminum with the Cerakote. I want to show you what kind of finish it comes out with. So what we have here are basically the slide, the back strap, the beaver tail, and the screws, the slide lock, hammer, safety, mag release, and you can see I painted both sides of this mag release because the frame's going to be graphite black. And with the graphite black frame, we're going to have these accents of the silver. I even painted the little mag release screw here. So as you can see, basically the satin aluminum comes out just like aluminum color. Here's the slide. Okay, painted the sights. Don't worry, this Kimber Custom II didn't have any special sights on it, so don't worry. Actually painted the barrel and the barrel nut. So it has a two-tone look. And as you notice inside here, the slide that I did not paint where it actually slides on the frame. So, but I did paint the rails, and I painted the rails. Basically, I painted the slide grooves, and then I painted the rails on the frame. And if it's a tight fit, then I just take a little bit of a emery cloth and take the paint off a little bit until it fits nice and tight, and you have a nice tight 45. So there you have it. Now what I'm going to do is paint the frame black, and in the next scene you'll be seeing that, and then we'll match these up and put them together and you'll see the final product. Here we are with the frame I painted. Just want to show you the sheen of this graphite black Cerakote, and came out real nice. As you can see in the reflection here, you can see that the stamped lettering does show through the paint because really this is one coat. Cerakote only recommends a 1/2 mil to 1 mil coating on their weapons. So anyway, I'm going to put this together and kind of just see what the contrast of the two-tone looks like right now. Let's see, trigger. Stick the trigger in. What else do we want to stick in here? I'm not going to put all the parts in, I'm just going to put a few in that will just show you the kind of contrast of what we did with this. This color is satin aluminum, this is graphite black, and I think it came out very nice, very beautiful. And I'm not going to worry about the springs or anything, just want to get some parts in here, give you an idea what it looks like. Plus it's nice to be able to make sure you fit all your parts and make sure that they fit correctly, because you can paint in these holes, but say you paint the part and the frame and the hole, you may end up having too close of an interference fit where you may have to take some paint off one side or the other. But yeah, well, let's see here. That already looks really nice. As you can see, the two-tone beaver tail, slide lock, trigger, back strap. Now this back strap, I think I mentioned it in a previous video here, that this is plastic, so it's kind of dinged up. But anyway, I baked this at like 170 degrees for about 20 minutes just to make sure the paint would cure on the plastic. Let's see. Oh yeah, it looks real nice. You can see on this side, as you can see the nice two-tone of the satin aluminum and the graphite black. Just a really good match. And now the frame, or the slide, which I think, yeah, it looks like I got a little bit too much on there. I'm going to have to take a little bit off. But as you can see, what this is going to turn into and what it's going to look like, it's going to look a really nice two-tone finish here. So anyway, stay tuned. I will have this together, and I'll show you the final product right here in just a few. Hey, Chuck here. This is our final product of the Kimber Custom II in satin aluminum and graphite black. And as you can see, it's a beautiful piece. It's got the nice complement of the safety, the slide stop, the hammer, beaver tail, and satin aluminum, the trigger, mag release, and then grip screws, and then the frame in graphite black. As you can see, I did the extractor, a nice two-tone finish in the back. On the other side, you see the pins. The other side of the mag release. Yes, I'm very impressed with this one. I'm very happy. I think my customer is going to be happy on this. And it just gives this thing a really nice look. So, hope you enjoyed this. And again, just a nice completed project. There we go. Just a sweet piece. Anyway, I will be posting some more videos on the